You ever have one of those days? One of those days where you just kind of done with other human beings? You're about half a second off of somebody else's ass. Couldn't be happier to be here recording, because I was just about to get ethnic in New Mexico. And that's not good. You don't want to strengthen stereotypes. Anyways, I know I quit social media, but I kind of like the podcasting thing. So we're going to do that. How is that light? Oh, that is way too bright. You need a diffuser on that. Oh, but I like the podcasting thing. I'm done with social media professionally as any kind of money-making tool. It's not possible. You'll make a couple dollars, but you'll never make back what you put in. It's not how it works. This is a Hollywood model, and you're not meant to make any money with a Hollywood model. And you can't have any fans on when you're recording. So it gets hot. Anyways, I do like the podcasting thing. That is kind of nice. I like that part. So we'll continue with that. It won't be an audio portion until there's a demand for it, because I'm just not going through that much trouble. I don't think audio podcasts are really going to last anyways. But what a day. What a day. And for the moderator's sake, for the sake of the moderators, this is going to be about three things. Photography, mostly motorcycles, motorcycling, and world affairs. Yeah, mostly around that stuff. Daily events, things like that. Kind of like a vlog, but not a vlog, but a podcast. I scored today. Absolutely scored. Look at this haul. I got Apocalypse Now, Fight Club, which I never saw, and apparently neither did he. The Waterboy, all on VHS, no subscription fees. Star Trek, Tomorrow is Yesterday episode. And Gold member. And it doesn't stop there, because I found the exact movie that I wanted to see today. The greatest motorcycle movie in history. It doesn't get any better as far as motorcycle movies go than Pee-wee's Big Adventure. See, here's the thing. There's no motorcycles in the movie. Well, there is. There's actually one or two motorcycles in the movie, Motorcycle Gang. But that's not the point. The point is how much you love two wheels. That's the point. That's what this is about. This is about how much you love two wheels. And where does it start? Does it start with a motorcycle? Heck no. It starts when you're 8 years old and you see a motorcycle. That's when motorcycle love starts. And what do you get first before you get a motorcycle? Bingo. This is the story of a man separated from his bike by the careless thievery of another one. And there's no bigger violation for a motorcyclist than someone to molest your bike. It is an emotional story, a roller coaster, a Tour de France, if you will, of the ups and downs of a man's love with his bike. You can't beat that. This is the greatest story ever told, and I don't think it gets much better than that. I had a couple other things that I wanted to cover today. What were they? Lane splitting. I don't know. I need my glasses for this one. I don't know how many signatures it will take to make lane splitting legal in New Mexico, but I do know it will take about 80% of whatever people involved to agree to it to make it into law. I do know that. I'm not a legislative person, so I don't really know, but I do know that for most laws, 80% of the people have to agree in order for the thing to pass through. So here's Mike's rules on lane splitting, because I've been thinking about this. Like what, like for now, it's a 5-year thing out before lane splitting ever hits the streets. And it's going to be 8 years before they stop running us down in the streets because we're lane splitting and they didn't know it was a law. So this is almost 10 years away from being in effect. And being to the point where people aren't getting snuffed out every day. Remember 15 years ago when New Mexico got a train, a commuter train, the rail runner? Yeah, that was 15 years ago. And in the first couple months of that, New Mexico, you guys were getting wiped off the map every day because you got a commuter train. It was wild to see because I had just moved here from Jersey and we had trains my whole life. We know better than to mess with them trains. But you, to this day, still playing games with those trains. I was on the rail runner in Los Lunas when it hit a car. The astronomical chances of that, for me to go through 35 years in New York and New Jersey, never have been in a train accident, and then to move to New Mexico right away immediately. That's what lane splitting is going to mean in New Mexico. In the beginning, it's going to be very rough, and some people are going to pay the price. But that's how humanity kind of works. When we come up with a new medication, some people have to find out what the dosage is supposed to be. And some people don't. It's really dark. Did I lose light? I think I lost light. I think we'll leave it there. I'm sweaty enough. So with lane splitting, there's going to be a period of adjustment and natural selection is going to take its course. And that's unfortunate, but it is the truth. With any medication, with any law, with any legislation, with any regulation, some of us are going to pay the price. It's unfortunate. But I've come up with some rules for lane splitting, having driven in California, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, San Antonio, Phoenix. I've come up with some rules from that bit of experience. And if you got any other legitimate thoughts on how lane splitting can be practically used in New Mexico, put them in the comments. But here are Mike's rules on lane splitting. I need my glasses for this one. Here are my rules for lane splitting. Lane splitting and filtering. Number one, the number one rule in New Mexico is that there's no reason for lane filtering. There really isn't. There is so little reason for lane splitting, that it's almost comical. You guys don't have any traffic. You don't have any delays. You don't have any toll booths. Your roads are smooth. Your traffic volume is super low. The only thing that makes you think you're in a rush is the TV and the internet. That's it. So there really is no practical reason for lane filtering and splitting in the state of New Mexico, except, now follow me along here, except there's just not enough traffic in the state to justify the idea that you're going to save any time by the use of lane splittering and or filtering. There is no traffic. The roads are smooth. There's no real reason to do it, except if there is an accident. If there's an accident, there's a light out, there's a light pole down, there's something weird going on. Yes, that's where lane filtering, splitting becomes necessary in the state. It has nothing to do with traffic volume or you being late to the Dollar General. It has everything to do with this next part here. Down car, the temperatures. The only reason lane splitting and filtering is necessary in the state of New Mexico is because of the temperatures. And that comes down to medical emergencies. Now, because of the high temperatures, because of the medical problems that can result from sitting out in the sun for a long extended period of time, especially if you're super white. Especially if you're super white. What does sunburn feel like, really? We'll wait. You can explain what sunburn feels like to us. No idea. But that's really the only reason. Hyperthermia. If you're sitting out in the sun on a Harley Davidson, some air-cooled bike, and even the water-cooled bikes, and the temperature starts to go up, and you've been there for more than 4 minutes, if you've been sitting in traffic for more than 4 minutes, then yes, the sea should part for you, 100%, because you're going to dehydrate like super quickly. And a rider like me, I mean, I'm comfortable in it, but I still need to drink tons of water. Leather. I wear leather when I ride. When I'm under 40 miles an hour working, doing DoorDash, yeah, that's when I wear ventilated gear. But for the most part, I wear leather. So when the temperature goes up, I'm gone. I'm gone. And there's a light that locals know in Valencia County, Los Lunas, the light at Main Street and Highway 314. I give that light 2 cycles to move everybody through. If I don't get through in 2 cycles, if I'm way back by the police station and I can see that light at 314 and Highway 6 Main Street, and I can see that light change once and then change again, and I'm still sitting there, right up the middle. Right up the middle every time. And I got zero remorse about it. Because when I get to court, because it's a minor ticket, when I get to court, Your Honor, I've been sitting out in traffic for upwards of 8 minutes. I could feel my core temperature rising, and, you know, may the court have mercy on my soul that I didn't want to sit out in the sun and dehydrate and cause a medical emergency. That's what that's about. If you're sitting out in the environment and there is an environmental danger directly posed to you, split your heart out, filter your heart out. I wouldn't say split. The drivers here don't know enough about splitting. So honestly, because they're going to think that you're cutting, they're going to think that you're doing something wrong. They're going to think that, oh, he thinks he's better than me. That thing that people in New Mexico say. I've never heard anybody else, any other state say that before, by the way. And then while their cars are moving, they're going to swerve into your path and try and kill you because they think you're cutting in line. And nowadays people think it's okay to end someone's life because they perceive something being rude. So my advice is only move when they're not moving. Never move when they are moving. If they're sitting there, the light hasn't changed, the light's down, the light's broken, and it just broke. That light on Main Street by that cheap gas station by the Applebee's in Los Lunas, that light goes out all the time. And if I see that light sit for more than 2 minutes, whoop, right up to the front, and I'm gone. It's called dead red. There's actually a law in the books for that. If the light is dead red, and most states call it dead red, if the light's been broken for a certain amount of time, or the light doesn't pick you up as a sensor on the camera sensor, then that's considered a dead red, and it's never going to change for you. And all the lights are going to the camera on top. If you look ahead at the camera, at the light, and then look a little bit that way, there's a camera there. And what am I? I'm a photographer. I figured it out, by the way. I figured out how to make the light change for any motorcycle. Now, if the light's dead red and not going to change for you because it can't see you, because this is what it sees. If these are the headlights of a car, this is what the thing sees. And what does a person look like crossing the intersection? It sees that too. So what you look like is a person standing in the intersection. You fix that problem and the light changes 100% every time. Now, follow along for lane splitting and filtering. You get to the front, boom, you're gone. Environmental emergency averted. Now that goes back to your local first responders. And I got audio here? Yeah, I got audio. It goes back to your local first responders and avoiding a unnecessary call that could have been avoided if the motorcyclist had been allowed to continue on his way, as opposed to sitting in 90, 70, 80, and 90 degree heat, because that's about as hot as it ever gets in New Mexico. But a long enough time at 70 degrees, a long enough time at 80 degrees, any time at 90 degrees, get moving. Because and then what happens is you get altered mental status. Your brain starts to not process information correctly because the temperature inside your skull is going nuts. And that's what that's about. That's the only time I think lane splitting and filtering splinting is doable in the state. It becomes a health concern. And I think if we all sign a piece of paper that says this is a major health concern in the state, we're not worried about getting anywhere faster, because in New Mexico, there's no delay, there's no traffic. There really is not. But sitting in 80-degree heat for up to 7 minutes, you're not gonna, when you stop and go, by the time you go again, your brain is a different person for you. That's altered mental status on the ambulance. So that's how I handle lane splitting and filtering. It's never to save time. It's only to keep my behind out of the hospital. And I dehydrate really quickly, and I'll be back in the hospital again dehydrated. It's one of the main reasons I've been to the hospital is dehydration. Now, what's the other thing I want to talk about? Lane splittering. We talked about lane splittering. We talked about lane splittering. I would like to, while I got your attention, that I would like to, while I have your attention, where did that paint come from? I think that today's man is buying the things he buys because of the response he gets by buying a leader bike, a lifted truck, or an expensive Dodge, Chrysler, Mercedes from M&F Auto or the auction. I think today's man is used to getting the reaction that he gets from his 12,000-pound truck, from his whatever Dodge, from his whatever Chrysler, from his auction Mercedes, from his R1 BMW S1, R1, whatever it is, leader bike. I believe that he's so used to that reaction that when he doesn't get it, it kind of throws him off a little bit. I think that's the case. And just me personally, one of my first jobs in New York was to fix situations. When someone got too big for their britches, that's when we came around to correct issues that happened along the way. And generally speaking, and this is where I get this from, generally speaking, it was someone who, what we used to say, got too big for his britches. And we sat down, we had a talk. We said, all right, this is the problem. Make sure you're not late again, and make sure that you keep things down low, quiet, and there won't be any more issues. And that was one of my first jobs in the city. Like job number three. And my first job was a bicycle messenger, and that kind of mushroomed into other stuff. But to see that personality prevailing so much nowadays that it is socially accepted that I bought this 12,000-pound pickup truck that's 3 or 5 feet taller than your car, and I am used to everybody acting like they are afraid of me and moving out of my way in traffic because they don't want to get run over. That when they see someone who's not afraid of them, someone who has zero reaction to the fact that they own this motorcycle, that truck, that car, that whatever. See, we grew up, we had 2 major personality tenants in New York and New Jersey when I was a kid, when I was coming up. And number 1 was, you were who you were before you got here. I was who I was before I got here. This isn't a skin that I bought at a dealership. This isn't a skin that I ordered off of Amazon. This is who I am. I earned this. One beating at a time, one bloody beating at a time by those kids at Long Branch High School beat my ass every day on the way home from school until I learned how to fight for myself. I didn't earn my skin by buying it from a Ford dealership, buying it from a Ram truck dealership, buying it from a BMW motorcycle dealership. I didn't buy anything. And that's why I kind of find it like weird when someone comes up to me and like with my motorcycle, oh, nice bike, blah, blah, blah. How fast? It's the first question every time. How fast is your motorcycle? Like, what does it matter? What does it matter how fast my motorcycle is? It makes zero difference. Because number one, if we were to race, if that's what you're getting to, if we were to race, you would lose because you're not racing that motorcycle. You're racing me. You're going to lose because it's me, not because of the motorcycle or the car. You're going to lose because it's me behind the wheel. And number one, if I'm not going to win, nobody's going to win. And since I've never had to get to that point, there's that too. Having said that, I've never had to get to that point, but it just goes to show you that, and I'm not just talking about myself. This is the entire population of everybody that I've ever known that came up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s in New York and New Jersey and Philadelphia. We're all exactly the same because we had that major tenets. You were who you were before you got here. And if you were a punk ass before you got here, then you're a punk ass now, no matter what truck you bought or motorcycle. So let's get that on the level right away. And the second tenet being, fuck your life. Fuck your life. You think that just because you bought this, and this, that your glasses say some expensive brand and your sneakers say some expensive brand. And because you bought a firearm, because you carry a firearm, because you have this Chrysler, because you have this Dodge Ram truck, because you have this F-150, because you have this BMW motorcycle, that somehow changes anything? It kind of reminds me of that scene. One of my favorite scenes in any movie, hands down, when the guy who financed Bane's stuff in the Batman movie, because some of the stuff is from real people. Just like some of the original rappers used other people's stories in their raps, and they would talk to us about the things we did and then translate what we did into an entertainment segment. That was a lot of the original rap. But in this particular scene, you can tell that this translated from something somebody did, because things like that only happen in the presence of one or two or three people. Can't turn your fan on when you're recording. When the guy who was financing Bane told the mayor or the other guy, the henchman, he said, "You stay. I'm in charge." You know what Bane did? Bane said, do you feel in charge? Do you feel in charge? But I gave you all this money, and that somehow gives you control over me? One of my favorite scenes. Tom Hardy knocked that out of the park, because that was some mob shit. Y'all be watching these bullshit ass Scarface movies and thinking these movies, Scarface and all them, was about snitches that got busted. Goodfellas, all that fake mafia stuff, that's all about snitches who failed. That one scene, I guarantee you that came from some mob story that somebody told the guy who made the movie at a table at a restaurant while they were quietly talking. Off the books. Do you feel in charge? That was a scene, and it was so quick, and it just right past you. If you hadn't seen it happen to somebody, you would not even notice it. Just a touch, just a touch, just a touch. I'm going to put my hand on you, and I dare you to move my hand. I dare you to move my hand. Because if you move my hand, there's going to be some furniture moving around in here. That scene is exactly what I'm talking about. Just because of what you bought doesn't make you who you are. And too many men that I come across every day, have their entire personality wrapped up in the things that they think they own. You used to sell cars too. You don't own it, the bank owns it. If you do own that Ram truck, that F-150 lifted Ram 1500, whatever it is, you don't own it, it owns you. Who gets the money first every day? The truck does. The truck gets paid first. If your truck gets paid first, if your motorcycle gets paid first, who owns who? Exactly. No, all this stuff with these guys, with these what they consider expensive stuff, you don't own that. You don't own that. Just a side note. When I worked at Larry Miller Toyota in Albuquerque, this is something I found out firsthand, like being there. When wealthy people came in, number one, wealthy people go to buy Toyotas. Poor people go to the Dodge dealership. Poor people go to the Ram truck dealership. Well, people with money go to the commercial Ram truck dealership in Los Lunas or in Albuquerque or Rio Rancho because they're buying it for a business. Poor people go to the Ford dealership. Poor people go to the Chevy dealership and they sign up for financing. Wealthy people go to the Mercedes dealership. Wealthy people go to the Toyota dealership. I've delivered far too many Toyotas to homes to not see the difference. And you know what the major difference is between wealthy people and poor people like me and you? They come in every time with a brown paper bag full of money. Brown paper bag. And the first time I saw it, lady put the bag on the table and I moved it to the side. I moved the money. She said, what are you doing? I said, I need to finish this paperwork. He's like, no. That's the money. I opened the bag, $67,000 in cash in a brown paper bag. Just walked in with it. Got out of her old Toyota, grabbed the paper bag, walked into the dealership, put the money on the table, and drove out with her new Toyota Sienna minivan. That was the first time I saw that bag of money in 15 years of selling Toyotas. Then, here's what else rich people do. And if you're not doing this, if you've been to M&F Auto, then you're not rich. You've been to the BMW dealership or the auction and signed that piece of paper with an 84-month loan, then you're not rich. And you're certainly not good at racing your car or motorcycle. Buying a BMW S1, R1, whatever it is, does not make you good at riding, period. Hate to say it. Love you like a brother. But let's be on the same page. Just because you're buying $5,000 worth of a $30,000 motorcycle, a $180,000 pickup truck, or an $80,000, 5,000-pound sports car, because it has 700 horsepower, does not make you fast. We should all be on the same page about that. The other thing that rich people do is they come in with a stack of gift cards. This one I never figured out. So if you know what this is, let me know. They come in with a stack of gift cards and they we do all the paperwork and I know they got money. I can tell they got money just by looking at the family. But they come in with a stack of gift cards and they start swiping. They do all the loan paperwork. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are they white people like this never fill out loan paperwork. And with this address in Cedar Crest, Tijeras, Rio Rancho, Santa Fe, Silver City. They came all the way up from Silver City to go to Larry Miller Toyota because their families bought Toyotas there for their entire lives. So they'll make a 6-hour trip to go to Larry Miller Toyota because that's where money is. That's what money does. Money ain't holding it. Money ain't on the gram holding it to their ear. You never know money. But they had this stack of cards and they start swiping. Well, swipe. What the heck is this? Why are we filling out loan information if they're going to swipe cards? So, and this part I never saw. Like they'll take the stack of papers, a stack of cards. The sales manager will put them in a back room and they'll just start swiping. Boom, 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 until the car is paid for. And then they'll still do the loan, like a 36-month loan at like 2% APR. Why do you need a loan at 2% APR? If your credit is, if you got a 975 credit, which is the highest credit I've ever seen, why are you filling out loan paperwork? I know you got the money. You get Tijeras address, Cedar Crest address. Come on. But then they come back in the next, like a week later, and then they pay off any balance. They pay off the loan. They pay off everything, and the car is theirs. I'm guessing they got some sort of like travel, like flight miles, travel rewards, or something from swiping all them gift cards. But I don't know. I wasn't allowed to talk to them about it. But what were they doing? That's money, and that's the reason I bring this up. That's money, and the people that you see like that, you never know. They're standing right behind you at the Circle K with a gallon of milk. Guaranteed. You've been within arm's reach of millionaires your entire life, but they'll never say anything. You've been with arm's reach of the fastest people on earth behind the wheels or handlebars of a motor vehicle, and they never said anything. And it had nothing to do with them signing a piece of paper for some 86-month loan with $1,000 down and like $2,500 a month payment for a motorcycle. And you never know. You'd never know that you were standing right next to racing royalty. You'd never know, because they'll never brag about it. They'll never say anything about it. And they're driving the littlest, slowest car. They're driving the littlest Toyota Yaris, and they are absolute assassins on the track. I don't know. What do I know? I do like the podcasting. This is kind of nice. I like this. Let me stop this alarm. Close that one. Anything else I want to talk about today? That's tomorrow. Yeah. Harley Davidson has and that ends the thing with men buying their badassery, their badass level at a dealership. When men buy their badass level at a dealership, we all lose. But we got to find a better way to express ourselves as men. And that's the sad part. Because you should be able to exercise your personality like that in a healthy way. Exercising your personality in a way where you're going out and generating massive amounts of debt, there's got to be a better way for us. God knows I've wasted too much money on stuff that's no longer here. But also I want to talk about Harley Davidson has a what is it called? A bagger racing series. And I don't think that's fair. I think I like it. I like the bagger racing series as much as I like a good lifted truck. However, and when I first found out about my particular bike, they were calling them dad bikes, which was kind of hilarious. Like, why are they calling them dad bikes? And I heard the word dad bod before, but then I heard dad bikes. So if Harley Davidson gets a bagger racing series, then I want a dad bike racing series. What do we call it? The daddy racing series? Daddy racers? I don't know. But just like the essentially they're cop bikes. The FJR 1300, the Concord, the Kawasaki, the Harley Davidson. Well, Harley Davidson can't compete with an actual sport bike. The ST 1300, what is it? There's another one. There's a little motorcycle that they use in Japan for motorcycles the VFR. They have a VFR police bike. There needs to be a police bike racing, a dad bike racing series with all these dad level bikes. Even Harley Davidson's got a couple dad bikes. Is that a dog bark? I think it'd be great. Because normal motorcycle racing is great, but how about us old guys? What about us? Why can't I put a pair of stickies on there and get around the track and then have to take a nap afterwards because I'm exhausted? I think that'd be great. Anyways, that's my life in a nutshell. I'm going to sit down. It's a holiday weekend, so I'm not going to make any money. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure.